welcome to 100 Gems Podcast, home of the champions, baby. And today is Thursday, so we doing our Why Did You Get Married, but we gonna put a twist to it. It's Black History Month, and we got a couple questions out there, and we just want to dive into some of the things that been going on in our community, in the Black community, see how it affected us or helped us or hindered us. However, we got our girl Tasha, who be doing the thing, y'all. Then we got our favorite DJ Solo, and no doubt Deontay. We got our guy over there sitting on the side though. He be, hey, listen, he about to become a preacher in a minute. He needs to go
ordain him.
Yeah, or alderman or something. Man,
some high-ranking position in the Black community.
You dig? Hey, but y'all listen here. I'm gonna turn this on over y'all to my guy Polo and my gal Tasha, and then we gonna come up with a slick question, and I want to see how they started off, y'all. Okay.
I told you me and Polo gonna argue this week.
Debate, a healthy debate.
Well, the first thing coming up, do you believe that observing Black History Month in February helps in the progress of our community? Or does it serve more as a reminder of past injustices and their ongoing effects?
If I had to chime in, I'm going to say Black History Month just is putting gasoline on the fire. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because on a positive note, it ain't been updated since 1965. But on a negative note, they put the capitalism on slavery. They make sure they put the focus on what we endured. You know, for those who never endured it, we keeping them updated on the pain that we endured as a people. So I feel like if the positive ain't updated, you know what I'm saying, in Black History Month, then the negative should be ignored too, because you actually put it in the people's head, the pain that their ancestors endured, and that right there perpetuates more pain in the next generation, because I didn't know nothing about the pain until Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, as a kid growing up, I ain't know nothing about roots until they capitalized on it in Black History Month. I ain't know nothing about the dogs. You know what I'm saying? So imagine a kid 12, 13 who don't really have that pain in them. And now in Black History Month, you introduce him to this. He's going to take that pain and run out into the streets with it. And that's going to introduce him to a whole nother mentality. And so, you know, when you weigh out the pros and cons, you got to really consider that side too.
I do know, and I will say that they will. It's easy for them to put on TV.
Yes,
it's easy for the media to showcase.
And no other culture. You
don't see no white boys.
You don't see the Holocaust getting put on TV.
You don't see none of that.
You don't see Cambodian slave trades get put on TV, and we the only people who are okay with our pain being perpetrated on TV as a celebration. And it's like, because you know they give us a celebration. They give us Black History Month as a celebration, but yet ain't nothing happy coming out of it, and it don't update because it's a lot of stuff that happened since 1965, and Black History Month hasn't been updated since 1965. So any accolades or any achievements in the Black community or a Black world abroad has not been publicized since maybe, you know, the Montgomery bus cut. You know,
but then when we talking about Black history, of course we got to bring in our Black women.
Definitely,
I'm talking about, man, because they have on everything. In my opinion, I think we standing on their back, son. Man,
we standing on everything.
I'm talking about for real, man. If it wasn't for our Black women, man, you know, making the way and helping those so-called leaders, you know, pave some ways.
Yes.
What have you. It was always a great woman on the side of them that's saying, hey, baby, this, that, and the other. I'm talking about old woman tuition jumping, Black woman tuition. Because I believe it's a difference. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because a Black woman got to worry about it if her son go to the store, if he going to get killed tonight.
Man, listen, she carrying all the worries of the hood on her shoulders.
Tasha?
You know what? I mean, you just saying what it is.
Yeah.
Everything great has some kind of woman in the background. You know, and us as Black women. And you know, it came a time, and I always say this about, and hey, Sire, I hope you watching. They tried to Facebook jump me because as a black woman, I run a fatherhood program about men. And the issue from the elders, because they're so accustomed to tradition. And I get it, but they're like, well, why is there a woman running fatherhood? Well, where the men at?
That's a cold.
And so even if we dated back to the foundation, and always when I first got involved, it was three women who were the main women: Miss Deborah Taylor, Miss Avis Nichols, rest in peace, and Miss Carmen. They were the main three who were basically the core of the foundation, who supported Mr. Terrence through all of this. But the foundation was always black women. But now, as time progressed, when we say, they like, oh, know your lane. Well, we created the lane.
Yeah. And part of that, too, is, like Polo was saying, how we focus in, how they focus in on our trauma, and it becomes a celebration. Hey, take a look how you got whooped. Remember you got whooped, and in a lot of ways that's still being perpetuated in the politics and all of that old crazy stuff. My thing today, though, keeping it 100 is, what we doing today. Like she said, let's go ahead, let's update it. Because that's really what's happening. So I would say this right here with our black leaders today. Because we still got Al Sharpton around. We still got Mr. Jesse Jackson. We even still got Mr. Farrakhan popping. And I really like Mr. Farrakhan when it's all said and done. Right. But we got to look at what we've done. Barack Obama. Yeah. We look at Colin Powell. We look at, our secretary right now. Right. Why can't we focus? And then in our own neighborhood, that's another thing too. They always tricking us to try to look outside. But let's look in our neighborhood at dude around the corner, man, Ed Hennings. Today. You know what I'm saying? Mark Wade, Pastor Dr. Robert Piles, man, who was
tuned in right now. He on there.
Hey, that's all I'm talking about.
Pastor Piles.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Pastor?
And he was invited today. He's supposed to be. He really could have probably extended this, but I think we have to really start focusing on our accomplishments and then our barriers. What Black History Month, man, what barrier we get over?
I think the biggest thing, we have to start capitalizing on us being the validation to Black history. Too often we bank on what they say Black history is, and so a lot of times we don't really get a chance.
So we having a little technical difficulties, but that's okay. We're going to get that all figured out. Because I know Solo, he got something real strong to say, and we probably need to hear it at the same time. So Polo, come on in, man. Let's see if we can, if we got your mic right, baby.
Mic check. It's chopping. But we gonna work. We gonna push through it. See, a lot of times what we fail to realize is we don't take the channels and the avenues that we got and take the opportunity. We take it for debating with them, you know what I'm saying? But we don't take the opportunity to capitalize and shine a light on our own people so that we can be the ambassadors for our Black history. Because if we don't take the Ed Hennings, take the Dr. Piles and put them on a platform and allow them to have, then guess what? Our Black history is only what they give us.
Our Black history.
It's only going to be what they give us, and they're going to repeat the same scenario every year over and over again. And there's nothing wrong with where we started at, but if that's where we finish at, where's the progress? Where's the hope for the future? Because the youth that we looking at now, if you giving them the same dynamics they gave me 30 years ago, they looking at it and ain't nobody crazy, ain't nobody blind saying, man, if ain't nothing changed, that's the scenario. Ain't nothing changed in 30, 40 years. But you saying, no, well, you talking about the same progress from 65. the same progress from 70s.
But things have changed though.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But we don't hold ourselves accountable to be the teachers and the ambassadors for knowledge. And so therefore people don't look at each other for saying, okay, well, what have we done? They look to them. If they don't say it, then it ain't real.
Well, I'm gonna say this though. It's a number of things have changed. You know, we're able to get into different doors that we ain't been able to get into in a very long time. I'm talking about we got black millionaires, billionaires doing things. I'm talking about now. I'm just saying. And then there's an ample opportunity for us to get together and make it so it can manifest into something real. You know, just like they put the little skateboard over there up in if it's West Alice or something
Skateboard
like that.
Park.
Yeah, it's real slick. I'm riding by one day, man. I'm like, whoa, this is slick. How come we ain't got nothing like this in the hood? How come we can't get together and put something like that in the hood?
Because we don't rely on each other. No. We rely on them.
But they rely on each other.
But they are them. What I'm saying is when we ask who doing it for the hood, who doing it for the neighborhood, who doing it for the community, we look external. We don't hold the internal accountable. So a lot of resources that we have, we don't capitalize internally. We look externally for it to come in. So they say, well, they didn't do that over here. Well, we have the resources that we can compile and make the same thing happen in our neighborhood. Or we can be at that same committee and insist that our neighborhood look like us.
What do we do the moment that, you know, but again, who's talking to the youth? Because the moment we get something in our community and then they're tearing it up.
Okay,
they shooting each other. You know what I'm saying?
We do have some fellas that talking to our youth, and some of our youth are hearing it. We got G's,
but that's the problem, though.
You know, that's part of the problem.
And we do this like for 7 years. We invite all, you know, and I always say that to my big brothers Quab and G. G opened up his barbershop for the last 7 years. We do Real Men, Real Talk, and we tell mothers, drop your sons off, tell your cousin, baby daddy, little Ray Pookie, them, bring everybody.
Yep.
You know, and we put them in a safe space where we can have conversations, because the reality of it is our people have made it, a lot of our people, I'm not saying all of them, have made it bad for us, because there's no way, there's no way, and it might sound bad, but it's just real, that I'm going to put a skate park on 2nd and Keith, because I don't know what's going to happen.
That's true. That's true.
No,
at the same time, now, I think we don't want to get too far off. We want to stick on something and something, because this is hot though. It's and we talking about what can we do. You know what I mean? And I think we need to stay focused on what we can do. We need to highlight what we can do during Black History Month because we got some systemic racism that's been affecting us from way back when. They set this in place 100 years ago.
Right.
And it's popping today. It's working like a charm today.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
We need to put some things in place the same way, but on for us. You know, not to tear down nobody. And I look at when you was talking about the Holocaust, so on, and the Jews and different things. They put stuff in place, man, for them, man.
But it's a hierarchy in which they insist to respect. We are the only people that preserve our weak. We are the only people that make it okay for us to have a strong and a weak community, instead of saying, no, we will not. I'm talking about internally. As a Black community, this has to be home. And we said, no, this the head and everybody gonna follow. We like, nah, it's them, and us. Like, but we so self-divided that it's hard for us to be on the same page.
That's the Jim Crow though. That's the Jim Crow effect.
Right.
And we know the Jim Crow effect. We know we divided. So
how do you defend the Jim Crow? Like, as if I can't come in your house and dictate how your house is ran. But they can come into our community and dictate how we run our community, because we so divided with the us and them. And we ain't talking about a color scheme. We talking about culture to gender to generation. It's so divided that nobody gonna agree to disagree just to get the progress in the community. So what the difference between our community and their community, they have a head and then they follow. Like, you go to Shorewood, there's a committee. If you don't submit it to the committee, we don't hear that. We're not saying there's no crime. We're not saying there's no problem. But there's a system in place with the community. And in order for you to buy a house, in order for you to open a business, you go through them. And we have ordained that alderman and that city official is the person that's going to designate this. And this committee is the one to make decisions. We don't make the decisions. We don't even participate in any level of politics in our community other than...
Well, I'll say this.
I'm not saying we individually. Okay, I'm saying we collectively. Like when I say we... Let me make this disclaimer. I'm not talking about individually. So I don't want to make it about me or anybody. I'm saying as a whole, when you say demographics, who do you talk to get progress in it from in there? Not somebody coming in and whipping the whip and saying, hey, y'all get it together, the police, the politicians, the city. No, I'm saying, is there an organization, a church-based organization in this?
It's some though. But unfortunately, they're working in silos. Yeah. And so the objective is to get those, because it is some, and that's why I'm always careful with my words to not say all kids are bad, all youth are disrespectful. I'm so making sure. Not. Yeah, because we have some
beautiful, smart,
we do. And I wish that, but then we got those ones who, and we go back to, ain't no telling what's going on at home. So if you already leaving your house feeling defeated, you don't have nobody in your house making you feel accountable. Then you go out here, then you like a dead man walking. You don't even care. So then we try to hold them accountable when there was no accountability in where where they house in their household. There's no accountability at home. So how we gonna say, well, you should know better? How I know what I wasn't taught? And that's why I'm very careful when we talk to the youth of today. We can't say that, expect for them to have learned it at home, because some mamas ain't teaching it.
Sure enough.
And we can't get mad and say all kids who out here doing crazy stuff wasn't taught, because I knew just how far to go. All the stuff, I had a great family, but I just wanted to be bad.
Right.
But I knew how far to go, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna only do so much. I still knew I better not disrespect Mr. James over there. Yeah, I ain't still in the, so it's almost like our youth, our babies are so lost, and this is the next generation. So you right. Where do we start? Where do we teach her? Hey, Jamie. She said, hey, y'all, I wish she was here. Where do we start? What do we do?
I think this is a starting place right here, talking about what to do about these things. I don't want to continue to harp on the things that happen, because there are things in place to deal with some of it. Right. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, we just now really catching up to it. You know what I mean? And then what I do love is all the so-called people that's we follow. Yeah, they being bust out. Yeah. The music industry, the movies, they being showed for who they really are, and then how they really sold out. But that's on them, you know what I mean? And I'm glad the thing is, though, we still got to bring this home, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like these Clippers. Yeah. I commend those fellas doing the thing. Mr. Andre Lee, Pastor Robert Piles, he know he out there doing the thing. I'm telling you, go to the church, man, you might get something, and you don't know where, and it might just to be something you gonna
need. You got the jacket on. Teron Edwards. That's making progress.
FNP. I think in the black community, that should be mandatory in the black community for young men to go through the rites of passage program, whether it be the fatherhood initiative, because young men can't become men unless they be around men. You know what I'm saying? Too often we leave them as orphans, whether they got their father, their mother. We leave them orphans to the community, and they the pain and the anguish and the trauma that they experience, a lot of time what a person feel on the inside, they act it out on the outside. And so our community get a representation clearly from the publicity. You know what I'm saying? So all the good that happened, you don't hear about it. But all the bad that happened, they perpetrate that. So whatever happens in our household is put on the media. You know what I'm saying? So it used to be a day where what happens in this house stays in this house. And I think we need to make a community home with fathers making progress, with real men, real talk, that create with the fatherhood initiative that makes a rites of passage, and mothers should be automatically made to put their kids in these programs. I'm talking about, because our problem is so systematic that we need these elders, these big brothers, Qua, you know what I'm saying, G, or and the reason be, because for me to be exposed, we are what we exposed to. Yeah. So you put them in that room enough, and it's gonna leak off. And then we have to start identifying when it ain't happening. Stop preserving the weak. Let's go get professional help. Let's go get therapy. But I'm pretty sure in our community we have these resources, but we don't have the steps put in place and say, hey, when it's a problem, we got to agree on a solution.
Yeah. You know, something, Dr. Robert Powers always say, you got to have a system.
Yeah.
You got to have some standard operating procedures. You know what I mean? And in our leadership, as far as our community is concerned, they need to have something like that, man, for the community that's hurting. Because everybody, like Tasha had said, though, all our black kids ain't bad, man.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it is a black. I don't think it is a bad kid.
We got some wonderful.
I don't agree with you on that. That I don't agree with you on. It is some bad kids. I know a few of them, but it's.
Do you think with the right guidance they could change? Because bad is definite. Bad is definite. That ain't. It's not a gray or area. It's. You either are.
You must don't have a lot of cousins.
I got a lot of them.
And you mean to tell me out of all your cousins,
I can identify what they did and why they did it. Psychologically, we are so undiagnosed in our community that we feel like behavior patterns are what they are. No, they're a representation of feelings and actions. And guess what? A lot of underlying factors play a role in that. So when we say bad, we are describing a broad characteristics. Like a kid that just acts out, they might be screaming for help. They might be defiant because they feel like they've been abandoned. They've been unidentified as a person. Like a lot of things that we do in our culture are so toxic that we don't really look at it like, that kid act like that because he didn't eat today.
It's a side effect.
It's a representation of how they feel inside. So when a kid, you got siblings, okay, you got an only child syndrome, and then you got cousins, right? So I got a grandbaby right now.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think all that was meant? Especially from the Willie Lynch law.
Do
you think what's happening today, everything you just said happening today, it comes from what Willie Lynch put down way back when?
I do.
Him and Mr. Crook.
I do.
I'm gonna say Willie Lynch has his place in society as a psychological mechanism to keep us in a place.
They got us in the place.
No. That's what I'm saying. It has its place, but it ain't in totality. Because what I'm speaking about right now is a kid's behavior is a representation of how they feel and how they reflect to the world. So like an only child syndrome, I'm saying that to say like kids that don't share their stuff because they the only child and they feel like all my stuff is my stuff, but when their cousin come over, they act out, have a fit. That has no bearings on them. That don't mean they bad. Right. They really just don't know how to communicate. And because we dysfunctional people as a culture, we don't know how to teach them.
But you know what? In my house, in my grandparents, it was my grandparents and me. And my granddaddy was like, you don't got to share your stuff with them niggas.
See, that was dysfunctional.
And guess what?
That was dysfunctional.
That's real, though.
Because if you break my stuff,
right,
then you gonna go home and I don't have nothing.
Yeah,
so
real.
Guess what? I didn't have to share I wasn't mean to you.
Right.
And I ain't act out.
Do you carry the attitude now?
I simply say, you can't play with my stuff. And that's how I am. And even with my kids, I'm like, listen, I didn't make them, I make them be nice. Okay. But you don't got to share your stuff because then somebody break it, especially with certain cousins, kids that came over. I'm like, nope, put all that in the closet. Yeah. Because now we're going to have an issue because if your son or your daughter break my kid's stuff and then my kids act out. So and my grandfather tell me like, you are not obligated. This is your stuff. Yeah. That's like me saying, I'm obligated to let somebody sleep in my house. You ain't, this is my house.
Yeah, it's your
house.
I
don't have to let you play with my toys. And a lot of stuff growing up and that's why I am the poster child for, I had a great life. There wasn't no reason for me to do the stuff. I just wanted to do it.
So you was bad.
What? I was just
you
my
bad.
grandfather.
Basically
but you know what? My grandfather said, make sure the things that he said, I put it in my own words. She like, get you a man that know how to take care of you and boo boo boo. So I dated drug dealers. So but you didn't say how. You know what I'm saying? Every last one of my kids.
What you gonna do?
Listen, because I'm attracted to the fact. I'm like, granddaddy, your money come too slow. You get grandma a check every 2 weeks. This dude get money every day. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be careful, and that's why
that's the thing right now too. Yeah. That's the thing right now too. The regular guy don't really have a shot.
But that was back then. I know better now.
it still works now because there's young girls right now that scale you based on the floor of your income and how much extra money you got to spend on them. So a guy who working 9 to 5, he don't have extra income, but the drug dealer, he can explore things. He can fly around.
I'm scared of the new drug dealers.
I'm gonna say, I'm for real, because they live kid. You gonna come up short, man.
Last time I seen Tasha, she was in Polo Basement.
Man, they ain't doing nothing but drinking behind them. Man, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about something.
Are we getting questions?
Yeah, come on with it.
Okay, so there she go. Hey,
all
girl.
Right, all right.
Hey, Renee. You work with these bad kids. We need your comment on some. We need you to talk.
Well, I'll say it like this. It's not so much of the kids being defiant. It's that the kids nowadays, what happens is when you took church out of school and you took the responsibility away from the parents, whereas the kids could call the police, the kids could tell the parents what they was not going to do. That's where the problem arises. That's my take on it.
Okay, because I sure remember I went to school one time and just had got a whooping, and I had whips on my, and the teacher said, "Oh my God, what happened to you? What you mean? What happened to me?"
What color was this teacher?
Oh, she was a white teacher.
Okay. That don't happen in their household.
I gave her just what she was looking for. Me and my guy was playing Zorro. Get up off me. You trying to send me home to get killed.
Hey, look, as soon as anything come to the house, you think that's going to be something, boy. I'm telling you what come next.
I'm telling you, man.
The upper room.
Right.
Hey, but now here's the thing.
Thank you, Renee. You got, that was your comment?
Yes.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
All
right.
The thing that we trying to do, what we want to do is we understand that, all of the different ailments and we got a very good idea of what's wrong, and then we also have a great idea on how it got wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We know this. Yeah. We know it. You understand what I'm saying?
Is that the history of Black history?
Yeah, I'm talking about they finna play it again. They finna play it all month. You get hit upside the head, but they ain't gonna show though how the things you can't see.
Yeah.
You understand? They're not going to show the redlining. Mm-hmm. They're not going to show, where you can't go get loans. And they talk about it, specifically. Yeah. Or we only going to do something over here, make it look like this or make it look like that. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So now that we do know these things, though, what is it that we can do ourselves to make it better? You know what I'm saying? And not against. I ain't saying we trying to go against nobody. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that we with inclusion. However, we still got to figure out, what to think. I think it should be Black History Month on what to do. That's what I think. Keeping it 100 instead of Black History Month or what happened.
Yeah. I don't need to keep reminded, what happened, because that's what they do every year. I think, and that's why I say it's an internal responsibility on us to come up with a blueprint and a plan of progress for us as a community and individuals. Because, if you stuck, if you keep doing what you've been doing, that's all you're gonna ever get. And that's a real statement. So, on small levels, because I hope we ain't playing catch up like we want to be equals, because that's always been a stigmatism of us too. We want to be on an even playing field with them, but we just haven't established our own playing field. And I think once we establish our own standard, then we'll have our own goals, because as long as they can keep changing the narrative, we'll never be where we want to be, because we basing it on what they saying.
But the thing is though, we changed the narrative for them.
Right.
My man, we so locked in step with that old, all this old garbage, man. We need to really put our foot down.
Because right now we pawns. Right now we pawns.
Right now,
we on board,
but
we on board. But a pawn play a position for the position that's behind it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really the first level of sacrifice, not the first level of defense. And so, since we all pawns, we feel like we got power position. Yeah, I got a little money. Yeah, I got position. Yeah, I'm jucking and jiving. But really, it's like, but your hand don't move nothing, so you don't make no decisions. And as long as they give you the choice, they can set the deck. Know what I'm saying? So anything in life, they setting as a tone, and you sitting back saying, Am I successful? Am I knowledgeable? Well, they control the whole board.
Yeah.
So whether you win or lose, they win.
I got, speaking of.
Tell us in the request.
Yeah, speaking of, that's going to go right into our next question. Our next question is going to be cultural representation.
Okay.
How important is representation in media and popular culture for the black community, and what changes would you like to see?
Me, first off, I'm tired of seeing us depicted as violent, ignorant, just socially awkward. And I'm tired of seeing fights on TV, social media always doing sambo dances. You know what I'm saying? Like if you didn't never expose yourself to a black person, you would think all we do is juck and jive and dance all day if you watch social media. If you watch TV, you think we socially illiterate and that all we do is saying a certain demographics and just do nothing, because that's the depiction of us. So when you see somebody on TV, they ain't got they self groomed together, they can't articulate themselves, you know what I'm saying? And we the only people who okay with that depiction. Even when you watch movies, if you said what are black people depicted as, drug dealers, strippers, you know what I'm saying, and gangsters, you really don't see.
But look at our music though. Steve Harvey said it best. He said he remember a time, when music was about love and, and he even went down and broke down the lyrics of Love and Happiness.
Yeah.
He said it's that old school music told a story. He said something's going on. Man, what's wrong? He said something's going on. What time? 3:00 in the morning. But now everything you hear is about popping pills, selling coochie,
because we okay with that.
So now, and we wonder if we doing a history lesson, because the topic is Black history, and then we look at why people and music is demonic. You know what I'm saying? You listen to that music and it get in their head. They like, I just popped a perk. I'll be like, you just popped the what?
But why is that? Why is that even being promoted and bought at the same time by our people?
Because that's what sex and drugs and foolish. That's why I do not watch the last reality show I watched was Love and Hip Hop. Not Love and Hip Hop. Lord forgive me. Was Flavor of Love with Flavor Flav. That was the very last reality show. I hate reality shows, and it's like everybody run to the TV for Bad Girls Club and all this because they're promoting foolishness. You know what I'm saying? They on there every time. They fighting. They acting a fool, and that's what sells. That's what they getting them to do. Get on there, have a problem, cause a fight. That's what the ratings do. That wasn't when we were younger. If we doing a Black history lesson, we got out of school. There was the Cosby Show, A Different World. We talked about that last week. Yeah. Even though if it wasn't realistic in our day and time, what you watched on TV was something that
Family Matters.
We had those type of shows that we Reading Rainbow. I love Mr. Rogers died. Y'all, I almost cried. I thought like it was my cousin because even the commercials, you know what I'm saying? We were taught it was a different culture. It was a different era. How do we get back to that? If these kids waking up in the morning, the first thing they seeing is Pound Town. And I ain't knocking Sexy Red. Get your money, baby, if that's what you do. But what I'm saying is if we're looking for a change, this is what our babies are doing. This is what we're doing. Yep, she's like Jamie said, Captain Kangaroo. All of those things we had that taught us.
Yeah.
We had to watch Reading Rainbow. I could still sing the theme song but it equipped us with the tools that we need. And so now if you don't have a family or a mom or a dad or a cousin that's really pouring into them children, if all they we didn't have social media. I tell my kids all the time, I said, listen.
We were forced to communicate.
What?
For real.
Right. We had a pager, and guess how we cut? We didn't have no text messages. When we cussed the dude out, we put 304, 304, 304 in his page. Yeah. Girl texted me, put 304. That was all we could say. We didn't have all that. And we learned in school. They don't want to talk about home economics is taken out of school, and they wonder why, as wives, we don't know how to do certain things. They don't teach them how to cook. They don't teach them how to sexual education. They doing it anyway. So why we not teaching these kids about sex?
And see, I differ because I'm asking myself why the black community ain't sitting down seeing that we the first hand know the benefit of it being discussed and what needs to be taught. Why not us be the teachers? Because if there ain't no rites of passage for boys and girls taught by people that look like them and are responsible for them, then they not gonna be at liberty to respect them. So if you putting the authority in the teachers, they don't come from where we come from. So, of course, their curriculum is based on where they come from, and it has nothing to do with us.
It used to be Polo. What's your graduation year?
2001. 2001.
Oh, God, I remember them years. But, see, I graduated in 95. I have teachers like even Miss Morris, Miss Ava Morris. That lady, I'm telling you, she was more than a teacher. She really
What school?
Vincent,
that was my teacher.
Man,
Miss Morris, shout out to Miss Morris.
Man, shout out. Do you know
that was my favorite
30
teacher.
years later, she is still connected to me.
Oh yeah.
Because I was a bad girl. I told you.
Ask her about me, Tasha.
I'm kicked out of Madison because we had this big old fight on the news. Good to Vincent. You know, my boyfriend went to Vincent, so you know I'm walking up in there like I'm tough. I wish somebody would say something to him while I'm here.
We had that effect.
So had a big old. So I go in there. First day in Miss Moore's class, she was like, "You think you tough? Ain't nobody scared of you." And so now it's a difference because, you know, it's like the teachers are almost scared to teach these kids so disrespectful. Yeah. Ain't nobody teaching him because guess what? If I disrespected Miss Morris, if I disrespected Mr. Kendricks, Miss Milton Perry, any of them, and they called my mama, my grandma, it was over. And I ain't get whooped. I got 4 whoopings in my entire life, but the punishments was like Alcatraz. So, but it was reiterated. Now you got somebody calling the school and the mom, what you do to them? What?
So what I'm hearing is, as far as representation, we got 2 kinds of different representation that was just talked about. We got Lil Boosie and them representing, you know, as a leader in our community.
Yeah.
You know, we got Drake. You know,
and they have valid voices.
Yeah, valid voices. We got
Jamie sent a request.
We got P. Diddy out there representing. He having booty parties and everybody in them. You dig what I'm saying?
Gatekeepers.
You know, in real life. Yeah. But then now, here Tasha just said about the teacher, though, who really is a representation.
Yeah.
You know
she
what I mean?
was real.
Yeah,
right.
she was real.
And
those are the folks that
she
we
still
need
affect
to be
me
talking
today.
about.
Yeah,
To
she was
this day.
real.
That's what's
and
happening.
that's the disconnect.
But
I feel
she followed me.
Feel like,
she is like she is the reason. She is why, along with my grandmother, she is the reason why I want to do. She was like, "This what you gonna do all your life?
No.
You think this gonna get you somewhere?"
She was the first person I was actually open to about my upbringing and the effects that I
she
took from what
supports
happened.
everything.
Yeah.
She was just
dope.
I just got honored. She was right there. Everything, Miss Morris, for 30 years, this woman, she's more than an educator.
It wasn't a job for her.
No, it just came natural. And
that's the difference.
And she would check you and with compassion.
Yes.
She was like, "Girl, this my house. You ain't tough. Ain't nobody scared of you." Yeah. And I'm used to everybody being scared of us. So I'm like, dang.
But that's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the answer. And I think a lot of us have escaped the fact of becoming, like we said last week, a lot of us escaped from taking them places, passing the baton, becoming the Miss Moores of this day. You know what I'm saying? Like, we reap the benefit of it, and we know the benefit of being that shining light and giving authority to you being able to be, you know, comfortable in a class setting. But we not taking them positions. We not encouraging our kids to become, you know, all the problems that we seek. We don't become the solution. We just talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We discuss how it feels not to have it, but we don't create the narrative of becoming it. So if you know the benefit of, become a teacher.
Yeah,
you know
you got to be on the front line.
Be on the front line.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like to have a teacher that can relate to you. You know the impact of being that teacher. You know the impact, even if it's a hall monitor.
Yeah.
You know the impact of, because I had a hall monitor that changed my life, where it was like, dude knew I was a good dude. I was in a bad situation, and he came to the front line and was like, fought for me and got me up out of the school just enough so I can graduate. Because he like, no, dude ain't that dude. His situation is just real bad. But that's because he knew me. You know what I'm saying? He took the time to know me past the statistics. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you got people like that in the world, that's the difference. But if you put people in a position that can care less of your outcome, Oh, you giving them the power to say, I don't care. I go back home to Sherwood, and I don't care what you deal with.
But they used to say, some teachers was like that. I got mine. You got to get yours.
Well, you got to think how they even set up the classroom setting and who teach where based on what. We don't play a role in that type of politics, so we don't even narrate who's going to be teaching our kids.
We got our girl online, Rob. Hold on, we got our girl online. Listen, but before, let me see. Amir, thank you. Shout out to my bro Amir. He said we need more of this on air. Never heard of the podcast. But definitely will be a listener.
Subscribe, Amir.
Content for man. Listen, Amir is one of the dopest brothers I know, man. Every real man, real talk. He is one of them brothers who got out here and is really a change agent. He's a barber. He's just a knowledgeable to have a conversation with him. Amir is super dope. So he is the representation. So shout out to you, Amir. I love you. And we got our girl. We got our honorary co-host online. Hey, Jamie, girl. We got the mic for you, girl. Go ahead.
Jamie, a regular.
She our regular girl. We love Jamie.
So, Polo, shout out to you tonight, baby. We kind of agree on a whole lot of stuff. I guess when I jumped in on the conversation, we were talking about bad kids. You know what I mean? And then he was talking about having these things in place for fathers or men to kind of step up and do that. It ain't just the men. It's the men and the women that need to be put in position and learn how to step up and do their due diligence as it comes to making sure these young ladies knowing what they need to be doing, how they need to be doing it, these young men. And then we need to do it collectively. But here's the problem. The problem is we still focus on a lot of these old slave mentalities of what my mama didn't teach me, and I didn't learn that, so I can't teach my kids that, and he bad because he been around Junebug and them and all of that. At the end of the day, we identified the problem. That's half the battle. Mm-hmm. Now we have to, I don't know, is it Ryan? I forget his name. He made a comment about Willie Lynch. Yeah, that's a factor, but that's in place. But being that we know that, the ideal is what do we do to work around that? Because it's in place. This state system, we can't do nothing with it. We got to hold each other, the adults. We have to be held accountable. We're not held accountable, so how our children are being taught? Everybody want to place the blame. People want to, what my mama didn't teach me, what my dad didn't teach me, the baby daddy left, the nigga gone, so my son don't know what a man, all of that, that's been going on for ages. What do you do when you have to come to a point where you have to say, okay, this is where it stops at. I'm not allowing that to happen. If I got to go next door and knock on dude next door to say, hey, can you come out here and teach my son how to fix a tire on the car? These kids, do you understand, these young men, and I mean, they're not even kids. You talking about 20, 30-year-old boys that don't even know how to change a fucking tire. I'm a woman. I can damn near build you a vehicle. You see what I'm saying?
That's why this is my girl, man.
It's bad.
And you know,
but again, we've identified the problem. We got to come together and figure out how we move right. It's chess.
Not checkers.
It's chess.
Yeah.
I know the L7 move already. So what do I do to counteract the L7 move? How do I counteract that? I know that move gonna be played no matter what. It's a given. So what do we do to do that? We got to start again. What we talked about last time. I think Polo mentioned it. It starts at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It starts at home.
Preach.
To start at home, don't nobody want to take responsibility. It's hard for a mother to say, yup, I didn't teach my daughter how to be a respectful young lady. See, I grew up in a different time, and I grew up kind of, me and Tasha got a very similar story. Yep. I didn't have no fucked up childhood. Excuse my French. You know what I'm saying? I remember, I was a runaway. I ran away not to be fast, not to be on drugs, and I was around. I could have been a prostitute. I could have been dead. I could have been in prison because when I working in that prison system, I let them know, dude, you ain't did nothing I ain't never did. Trust me, I just didn't get caught. You know what I mean? Only two things I ain't did was sell pussy and smoke dope. Excuse my French. But one of those is questionable because a nigga can't get it for free. However,
keep it 100.
You know, and the thing about it is, again, we want to place blame. And I remember getting in some trouble. I ran away, went to court, long story short, the judge. Because, you know, we keep pushing our kids into the stereotypes that they're at. Two things we do to our kids. We force them into the stereotype, and we shame blame them so they don't want to ask for help. They feel like they punks, or you a mob. And what you mean you going to a therapist? Nigga, you crazy. That ain't how they go. I always need somebody to talk to. As you can see, I love to talk. So, I need it. You know what I mean? So, it's those factors that have to be met first.
And we can't get them together if we can't get ourselves together. You know what I'm saying? And again, like you said earlier, you and Paula, we had things in place when we were coming up, especially you and I, Todd.
Yep.
These kids, have you ever been in a school lately? These kids, we had say Buff Gruff the crime dog. We had
Yeah. Smokey the Bear.
Remember Hang Tough?
I was a Hang Tough kid. I'm on the commercial. Hang Tough. There. We had that. We had dentists that come out and teach you how to brush your doggone teeth in case it wasn't done at home. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Nobody thought about the long haul of it not happening. So when I say this, I had a point. I remember getting in trouble, and the white judge Momstad, he was on the news for being too diligent, too crazy with kids. But anyway, he said to my mother, and I'll never forget it, if y'all give these kids some pride and get them off welfare, and I mean, he put me in this stereotype. My mama been at GE at that time probably 25 doggone years. My daddy worked at L. Smith. Nigga, I ain't never had no issues. I just want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. So again, that wasn't bad because that was the topic earlier. That wasn't bad. I was being defiant. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I think Renee, was that her name that came on? Yep. She made a very valid point. They did take some things. The church, yeah, okay, if that's your thing. But they took the control from the parents that did at that time. Because remember, they gone. Them parents gone. They been gone. They took the parents that did at that time have that control. You see what I'm saying? You can't whoop your kids. You can't tell the kid. You know what I'm saying? We didn't care. My mama worked third shift, and I guarantee you when them street lights came on, I was in that crib. She didn't have to be there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. No ring cameras. No. Wasn't nobody calling. We didn't have no cell phone.
Like she could see me from work.
And you right, Jamie, because it was a different time. My grandma could look at me and I was like, oh God, I'ma die. Shot Brad Pitt, my little brother on there. Brad Fax, y'all check him out. He's another great brother.
Uncle Brad. That's my Uncle Brad.
Check out my brother. And
E. Tasha, we gotta get back to the grandmama.
Yes.
We gotta get that back. What they told us we couldn't do no more.
Absolutely.
We have to force that. And again, like Polo said, we're not going into these schools and demanding this type of stuff. If we're not in these schools demanding these type of stuff, if we're not in these board meetings where they making these decisions for our kids, we're gonna keep having those kids.
Come on now.
Man, and she preaching.
She preaching. That's it.
Jamie, I'm going to come kidnap you and make you come up here one day. We need you in the building. Definitely. We love what you. Man, listen, friend, I love you. I'm going to call you tomorrow. We really need, you got to coordinate one of these days. We need you in the building. I'm going to sit behind you and I'm going to let you take my spot. We need you in the building. Eric, what's up, brother? I love you. He said it's many parents being their kids' friends and not parents. Yeah, well, there you go. Yep, you right.
Grandmama got kicked out. Grandmama got kicked out for them
You
too.
better say it. You better say it. Hey, Tanya.
And it ain't a whole lot of us left. And then you have these fake politicians that's in office. They got an office to get a title. They didn't get an office to do nothing. They allowed these people to take the little bit that we had to work with.
Ain't nothing changed.
We don't, and them the faces that we need to be getting in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Malay, all y'all, while y'all up here giving out gift cards for somebody opened up a store yesterday. What about the kids?
And Rocky said, he said the last big sister. Yep, the big sisters, the big cousins, the big homies. We got to get back to that. We got to. I appreciate. I love you, friend. I'm gonna call you. We need you in the building. If I gotta come and kidnap you and hog tie you and get you up here, I love you.
Say y'all now.
Okay.
Now that's what's happening.
Yep.
Over here at 100 Gems. We getting solutions. You dig what I'm saying? We looking for things to do.
Yeah.
I want Black History Month. It's the Black History Month to do.
Let's do it,
what you got to do for Black History Month, man.
Yeah.
Not what didn't happen.
Yeah,
It's stuff for us to tend to. And it sound like, man, just like the young lady got on there and she be popping the thing, keeping it all the way 100.
I love Jamie, man.
These are the things we have to do.
Jamie been that vocal since middle school. She is an amazing, and I love her. And like I said, I'm so grateful for my friends that I'm still connected. What's up, Rocky? You want to hear Dave start? Brad said, I want to hear Dave start on thoughts on this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fade to the back and let Dave come up here and say something. But listen, we got to get back to creating those. We got this beautiful space here. Rob is like, listen, how can we do Black History here? Man, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it
for real. I'm talking about with solutions. with some workshops. You know what I mean? And it sounds like we need workshops for parents.
And I think we definitely. I think that was something brought up last week, but I think we definitely need to start spotlighting the black community. You know what I'm saying? Businesses, people. And I'm talking about maybe in their places and bring them on, you know what I'm saying? Because the big thing is we can identify the problem, but until we're ready to put a plan of execution for the solution, it's just a feel good conversation.
Come on with it.
It's just something to talk about. And me personally, I'm tired of just talking about it. But baby steps make progress, just like that 100-yard dash. So even if we start with baby steps, just by identifying, hey, we do have X, we do have Y, we do have Z, and first we have to acknowledge it is a problem.
Yes, sir.
That's the first thing to anything. But my guy Dave,
hey, how y'all doing? The first thing I'm gonna say, Harriet Tubman said she freed thousands of slaves. She could have freed many more, only if she knew they were slaves. And because we have such a youth that have a slavery mentality, and because what they see is what they do, and what you project is what's in you. So when we stop saying things like, if we say what we gonna do, the first thing what we do is, let's say this, it's the conversation piece. We're having a great conversation piece, but how many of us is going to take the feet conversation piece? What that mean? How much going to put it in action? We're going to get up and move our feet. We're going to say, hey, I'm going to stop saying, just like you said, kids are bad. And I love what you said, because one thing that happened, and really the foundation the program started in 1976. 1976 is when a lot of Martin Luther King, and when they started pushing it. And then you have to understand, in 1980, Ronald Reagan came up with a plan how to destroy the black communities through drugs. And then after the drugs, it came what? They said, let's divide to destroy them again in their homes. We're going to use social media. So if I use social media, and if I use that, because I'm always use the Bible, I'm always use religion, because I'm going to use my faith and my foundation. The Bible says, so as the man thinks, so is he. So what are the kids thinking about? And you got to have a reminder piece. It ain't that you don't know. Just when you in that situation, you need to be reminded. I need to be reminded that, you know what, I'm a king. In Africa, their culture, they told their kids when they was 5 and 6, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer. You finna go to school and be an engineer. And Tasha said something that made sense. She heard the father talking at his child, not with his child. So now I'm telling my son, it's okay for you to have an abusive mentality. It's okay. So now that trauma sets in him, and when he get older, what do? I don't want to listen to Rob that tell me, hey, brother, I've been down that road. You can end up prisoner and dead. I had a grandmother, and I was raised in that era. Kids should be seen, not heard. You didn't talk back to your mom. You didn't get me and you on an adult conversation.
Go in the room.
And I said, talk. Hey, what? Your face would be over in the corner, and you'll be waking up in tomorrow. But I get it shouldn't be like that. It's nothing wrong with respecting your child. And respecting to the point, I'm not your friend. What I am is, I'm the first God and the gatekeeper in your life.
Yeah, I just want to chime in on something that, it's a different day.
Yeah.
It's a different day. They seeing us like this. You know what I'm saying? They seeing Gucci Man and Drake, and I know you see Cardi and the rest of them, but you also see us now.
That's right.
You understand? And we have that vehicle now. And I love to see the men that are out there right now talking about solutions on how being black is beautiful, how being black is strong. Hey, and then how the struggle is real. But the struggle ain't nothing there for to make you better. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get wiser. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to pass it down. So that's one of the things. That's why we got this. That's why we call this 100 gems.
That's right.
You did what I'm saying? Because you're going to get 100 gems. You're going to get 100 real gems on how to live a wonderful life for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing, man. Yes, we have to take some self-responsibility, but I'm so glad it was some men that took responsibility for me.
Yes.
You did say, hey, man, this dude right here, let me go ahead and sprinkle him. Yeah, I got sprinkled, man. I don't know if y'all caught that or not. Yeah. But, I thank God for those men. that took the time out and said, oh, yeah, I see he got it. And there's so many of us that do have it. A lot of times, like Tasha was saying, the bad kid, because I was bad too. I'm talking about, Lord have mercy. But I also had all this other potential that I ain't have a clue about, man. And with our kids today, they able to get information at the drop of a dime. You understand what I'm saying? And they ain't necessarily getting information like this. Especially when we kicking it directly to them and saying, we understand. You know what I'm saying?
You can't Google this.
No, you can't Google this, baby. I'm talking about you is now, no. But you got to come to 100 gyms. Well, I ain't going to say you got to come to 100 gyms, man. It's all over the place.
Different outlets.
I think another thing what we have to do, we have to stop being scared to deal with one another and to come together. You know what I'm saying? As men. And then really honoring our women and respecting our women, man, because if it wasn't for them, boy, ain't no telling.
And I think we got to make it the norm to show what that look like, because a lot of times you can't do what you ain't never seen. You know what I'm saying? True. Like if you ain't seen nothing but toxic and dysfunction, you go out in the world and it's foreign for you to, achieve peace, because you don't really believe that it can happen because you ain't never seen. That's like until maybe a decade ago, you say a black billionaire. You say, what? Man, I'm lucky to live check to check. But then once you seen it, you like, wow, I could do that. The whole fear of achieving that went away because somebody did it. And so I think when we make spaces like this and give conversations like this, we give authority for that vision to be manifested even in a child mind, to say, oh, I can have a voice. It ain't weird for me to be X, Y, Z. It ain't, because guess what? Society, like you said, portray us to be this. And if you not this, this, and this, to some cats, that nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the lyrics. And guess what? So we giving a different narrative and giving it permission. You could be whoever you are, for real, for real. And it's okay. Because guess what? It's a place for everybody, not just what the media or society say.
Yeah, and we get to, we have the opportunity to carve our spots out right now. You know what I'm saying? That's what we doing. You dig what I'm saying? And I know it's going to be a lot of other fellas, man, that feel the same kind of way, that understand this mission. You understand? For us, you dig, especially during Black History Month. I'm talking about Black History type stuff now. But we coming to the end of our podcast. We want to make sure that we get our girl Tasha on here, man, to give us some last word. But Dave, before you go, man, hurry up and drop us a gem, baby.
I'm gonna say something that I love. My Bishop Arlen Burke says at Greater New Birth. He said something. He said, "Don't look down on the man unless you picking him up."
Come on.
And what that saying is, listen, when I see you down, I'd rather pick you up. I'd rather help you up instead of jumping down on you. And I love the program, the young men. The next time you have some, Tasha, they have a group of young men, because it's good to see a group of young men, a lot of sororities and fraternities that come up there and help feed the hungry on Saturday, every third Saturday. So it's a group of them that's like Polo said, they don't see that. So it's good if a young dude see another young guy that's saying, hey, man, I go to college, I work, and if I could get out here and do this, because I'm listening to Polo, I'm listening to Tasha, I'm listening to Rob. And so that's what it is. Don't look down on the man unless you picking them up, and you can defeat the Goliath in your life.
Come on now. Right. Come on now. Tasha, come on, leave us with a gem.
I just got to make sure I get a comment to my big brother, Rocky. We had a little falling out, he had to race me off Facebook. Yeah, I had to charge him up. I went up to his job and charged. I'm like, I've been knowing you over half my life.
Well, that's a Black History stuff for you.
It's a Black History moment. I said, Rocky, I've been knowing you since I was a teenager. How you have friend me? I made him send me a friend request right then and there. But I love my big brother. He said, we need to get right to the source. Let's create and establish our own economy and ecosystems to.
There you go.
Yes.
Stop using big words. Eradicate what is. Stop playing with me. Yes, right. And Amir said talk. Hey, he was talking to you guys. Amir said talk heavy, broski. Our girl, our honorary co-host Jamie, she said that's why we have to go up against those outlets. Man. So Black History should not be once a year. I believe. Listen. So and Eric, I think I'm older than Eric, my little brother. He said, ain't no kids trying to hear that Waukesha, South Milwaukee stuff. They want to hear it from the people they can relate to. Absolutely, right. Absolutely. So I just want to make sure that we I wanted to give the comments. My girl Courtney, I love you, Courtney. Hey, honey, she's online. So I guess I just want to say, we got to get back to what worked, and and we understand, y'all. If we circle back to I know the saying is there's no more big mamas, but who is the most reliable person in your group as of right now? We can't just go out saying ain't no more big mamas. We got to recreate that because they put enough in us for us to could take the torch and lead on so these children won't be lost.
Come on now. Y'all done heard it from Big Mama.
Say it clear.
She ain't Big Mama, that's the mama. You done heard it from the mama. You did. But hey, y'all, listen, that's another episode of 100 Gems, man. Go out there and subscribe. Come on, get in with us. As you see, we doing some different things. We're going to be chopping it up live, and we want comments and all that good stuff, man, because this is for us, all of us. House of the Champs, baby. 100 Gems. Peace.